Hi, good morning. I'm Latika Pai with Sejal Shah Gulati, and we're here for our very first recording for the SonderStories.
Yay!
So the reason why we started the SonderStories is across the world we've met some really very interesting women and super successful women, and as we met with them we realized there was an untold story behind their success, and the success was not necessarily the easy path to success, versus there were a lot of trials and tribulations, but in spite of that, they have done extremely well for themselves.
Indeed, and so we wanted to explore further, and we're starting with our very good friend and co-founder of SonderConnect, Ms. Vaishali Kasture.
So yesterday I gave Vaishali a call, and I said, Vaishali, we're looking for some really very interesting women, superstars. And who is the woman today in India who is the top female marathon runner? And she says, you're talking to her. This is the way you take your, besties for granted.
Well, I may not be the best, but I think I'm the most popular.
She's the best.
She is the best. I mean, considering that she's participated in 100 races, run about 30 full marathons. She has run 5 out of the 6 top marathons in the world. And of course, during her, when she has free time, she's a partner at Deloitte. Vaishali, as Sejal mentioned, this is, you are our number one, because we couldn't think of anyone else that we would like to interview, because your journey has been, very interesting. I've been through, I've known you for the past 15 years, and as a result, have got to get to know you extremely well.
It's such an honor to be here for various reasons. Okay, one is I'm getting goosebumps because this is the first SonderStories, and I'm almost like so excited that I could cry. And I am honored that I get to be the first story. And the second reason is I have just 2 close friends in the world, and this room, both of them are sitting here. So I think it's a double honor for me.
Watch out on Facebook, you're going to have a lot of people complaining about that.
I said close friends. All my close friends in the world are in this room right now.
Wow. Let's see how many people unfriend and unfollow her. You're here for a reason, darling.
Not till you view the video.
Yes, you have to see the video first. Absolutely.
So let's get started. Vaishali, at least when I think of success, I actually think of you. And for a variety of reasons. I would love to know, do you think you're successful? And why or why not?
That's a very interesting question. When people say you're so successful, I'll say some days I wake up feeling that I'm a rock star, and some days I wake up feel like I've wasted the last 25 years of my life. So I go through these cycles. I mean, when there are days or weeks where I feel like everything is together, and I think I feel like perhaps I'm getting close to calling myself a little sorted. And there are days when I wake up absolutely feeling like, I really don't know how to get this done. So I go through these cycles, and I think the good part is that I've learned to accept and recognize that I'm in a cycle. So when I'm in my low phase, I have now learned to build the tenacity to tell myself and recognize that this is a low phase, don't do anything stupid. And then I just call Latika when I want to do something stupid, and then she tells me, no, I think you're just doing something stupid. So learn to recognize these cycles and have the ability to, even when you're on a high, sometimes, people tend to get carried away. When you're on a low, they tend to do something stupid. But overall, I'd say, 60% of the times I feel I'm sort of successful.
And who do you admire and who do you think is successful?
They're sitting in the room again. Seems to be very like a family situation.
I think people will not watch the show anymore.
What's going on here?
Okay, considering that we all kind of just do our own JJ, let's move on.
Present company excluded.
Right, okay. So, it depends. I mean, the way it's a tough one to answer, but, people have to define what success is for them. I mean, I have some really awesome friends who are full-time moms, and I think they're super successful because they know that, they want to raise great kids and spend time at home, and they do a great job out of it. I know some women who are single and have no other responsibilities except work, and they know this is what success looks like to me. So I have a combination of, friends, and I think each one of them, I think what makes a person successful is knowing what you want and not comparing what your success is like to someone else. Someone may be like at a level who is kind of a junior associate somewhere, and I think that person is very successful because they know what they want. So for me, success is knowing what it means for you individually and going after it, and when you reach it or achieve it, you're successful. But I think the one person which is an inspiration to me that really stands out is honestly my grandmother. She got married at the age of 9 in a small district in Satara. My grandfather, it was his second marriage, and they were like 20 years apart in age. He was a successful income tax lawyer. First wife had died at childbirth. And the only reason that, my grandmother married him is because she knew at the end of the day she would get 2 square meals, and the house was so big. From there, she went on to, have 8 kids, do her post-graduation, was the founding member of an organization called the Mahila Sabha in Pune. She became the chairperson. She would write speeches. She traveled the world. And she was like a big proponent of allowing her daughters at that age, in the 50s and 60s, to do PhDs, to do post-graduations, and not put pressure on them to get married. So I think for me, she's what success really looks like and what it takes to get there in those days. And she's an inspiration to me. She's not in this world anymore, but I'm sure she would be super proud of me today.
I think so too. Did she give you any advice that has stuck with you?
I think I learned tenacity from her. Yeah. I mean, I would see, and I think what I also learned is how to make good use of limited resources. She would, and this memory is very vivid in my mind. I mean, this was days when, the family is doing well and all the kids are grown up, my aunts and uncles, everybody has their own stuff. The grandchildren are, really doing well in life. Some are studying abroad, people have jobs. She would still recycle. She would take my old dresses and say, these are such good quality, these are imported. And
you are now is blossomed, right? And just happy and wonderful. And I think it would be really helpful to walk us through perhaps some of the tools it took for you to manage during that time.
Absolutely. It doesn't come to you very naturally, but I think, women need, if you have a strong support system, you don't need a whole coterie of friends, but you need 2 to 3 people who are very close to you, whom you can open up and talk about what you're going through. I think talking alleviates a lot of the pain, and if you're naturally the kind of person who doesn't like to talk, it is difficult. So I think my first piece of advice is talk to 1 or 2 people and tell them how you're feeling and seek their comfort. And it's completely okay to, I am a big proponent of, let it flow, let it come out, because the more you talk and the more you express yourself, sometimes there are feelings which, unless you give words to them, they don't really come out. So, definitely do that. Second is, if things get really bad, I think there is no harm in going to a counselor and sharing I know it sounds kind of weird, and in India there is an acceptance, but talk to a family friend who might be a counselor, or someone who you look up to, who's willing to invest the time with you, to be able to walk you through some of that. And I think the biggest piece of advice I can give is have a routine. It is very easy to say, I don't feel good, and then you give up on the thing that you really like. So having a routine and getting up every morning to a list of things to do, and don't make your life overcomplicated. But the 2 or 3 things that kept me sane, of course, is I like to go to the gym and I like to run. So I think the physical aspect of it makes your brain feel better because you have the endorphin rush. And so have a little bit of a schedule and invest in a little bit of something. You may like music, so make sure you take time out for music. The final advice is cut out negative people in your life, because there is so much of self-doubt. Your self-esteem is so low. You're going through a phase where you don't know if you did the right thing. You used your brain. You believe you did the right thing. A lot of times you will feel like, I need to go revisit my decisions. So cut out people who make you negative and don't waste time with them, talking to them. Get yourself out of, I'm a big social media fan, but I do not engage with people who pull me down. I have a basic rule that if I don't feel the love when I see you, I don't want to see you. And I will not respond to your messages. So cut out the negativity.
Thank you.
We're lucky. You were very she was
There are only 2 people's messages I respond to.
On a more serious note, Vaishali, I think one of the things that we need to be aware of is that many people in India, male and female, right? I think in the Western world, it's actually pretty cool to say I'm going to a counselor, I'm on medication, and it's not considered a stigma. Here in India, the minute you talk about your failure, quote unquote, which is that you're unable to cope. It's not a failure, it is a situation that you are in, but it's considered a failure in the Indian context, right?
Yeah.
Everything is only portrayed as cool, everything is hunky-dory.
Yeah.
And now that you are willing to open up about it, I think it's important that people realize that all of us go through hard times in life, right? And it's okay. You may be, you're a gold medalist from Bajaj, you've worked at Goldman Sachs, you've been at Infosys, you've had some of the coolest, executive positions today internationally. And it's okay, for you to have gone through a challenging time, and it's okay, you took the help. I think the lesson here is that everyone goes through situations that they are unable to cope with, and during that situation, ask for help. I think that's really what is coming out of this, is that you were, you can call it depressed, you were not in control, unconsciously unable to move forward. I think every morning must have been a challenge, right? And so you had the good fortune, and I think more such companies like Goldman at the time, should be open and responsive. And I think that's really another message, which is saying that corporates need to recognize that their senior executives go, through challenging times. And they need to support their
Absolutely
executives
right.
through that, and it's okay to talk about it, right?
I think there are 2 things here. One is that I think corporates now have a lot of wellness programs, but I still feel people are very shy of using them. So I think we absolutely need to remove the stigma from it, because
That's right.
if you there are some times where you're just going through a low period of activity, low period of mental, a high period of mental anguish, and you may not want to talk to your spouse or your family about it, but you do need to talk about it, because sometimes talking will help you figure it out. Second piece is, my advice to everyone is, it may not be you, but if you do notice people around you who don't look too okay, or people who work for you. I have been in situations where I have picked up early warning signals from men and women who work for me and said, do you need help? Are you okay? Are things okay at home? We get so engrossed in our lives that, we've got targets to meet, we've got goals to meet at work, but just look around, because if you are able to help someone at that stage, I think you will have a healthier, company, and hopefully, if it's at home, hopefully not, then if it's at home, you'll have a better family. So we need to pick up those early warning signals and build those support systems and tell people it is okay to talk about it. And when someone talks to you about it, don't shun it away. They need help. It may not be, they just need someone to talk to. And, there's a campaign, I think, which is being run, which is called Dobara Pucho. Check a second time, are you okay? And you don't have to push into their personal space, but check how things are.
Absolutely. Thank you. Should we move to our
Rapid fire? Yes.
There's a rapid fire, didn't tell me.
So we didn't tell her, because Elle and I are both huge fans of V, and we want you guys, because I think you guys are probably have become huge fans if you're not already, to get to know her a little bit better. And Elle and I have very different types of questions. So
You go.
how many and then you go?
Do I get a hamper at the end?
Yes. Indeed. Of love.
Yes.
Of love.
That's what I need.
Okay. What is your idea of perfect happiness?
Waking up in the morning and going for a run, having a productive day, and going to bed by 8:30 is, I think, my perfect day.
What is your greatest fear?
My greatest fear is not being in a position to take care of myself when I grow old, and being dependent on other people and being a burden to other people.
What is the trait you most deplore in yourself?
I don't have the courage to go out and party on Saturday nights. I just don't have it in me. And I know, like sometimes I say, you know what? This Saturday evening, I'm going to make a plan. I'm going to go out.
I'm holding my breath.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm constantly, I'm always saying no to social commitments, you know, on the weekend. And I sometimes feel, is it that I don't have the, you know, I wish I had the energy to be more out there and to meet more people, but I don't know, maybe it's just my personality. But if there's one thing I would love to do is go and hang out there and meet people and socialize more. I think I'm just not good at it.
What is the trait you most deplore in others?
Making excuses. I guess making excuses and procrastinating. I mean, when people say I don't have the time, I was like, that means you don't want to do it. Just say you don't want to do it.
So I'm going to do one more question, then I'm going to have the fun questions, and we'll come back if we want to. What living person do you most admire?
Wow, that's an interesting one. You know, there are so many people I admire. Which living person? I think I admire my son. I think he is an extremely resilient kid. He has gone through many life-changing situations, and I think he's come out a rock star. He's just 8. I want to be like him.
Now, Elle, I feel like you also have a few questions.
Yeah. So what are the 3 things on your bucket list? The 6th marathon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So first is I want to complete the, I'm sorry, it's going to be all one-sided, but that is really my bucket list today. I want to complete the 6th world major. I've done 5.
Which one is that?
Chicago.
Nice.
So I have done, New York, London, Boston, Tokyo, Berlin. I need to do Chicago soon, like October. Then I want to do, it's called the 7 continent certification. So 1 on each continent. So I have 3 races to go. And then I want to do the North Pole and the South Pole.
Wow.
So that's my bucket
Again,
list.
marathons there.
Yeah, so these are all marathons.
So will you plan parties around the marathon?
Yeah.
That's it. You know, you just have the tailgate parties before
Yeah.
the football game.
Do marathon tailgate.
Yeah. So I think by like 2020, I want to have all these done. And then I'll have a new bucket list. So I like to make limited, like 4-year bucket lists, because then what if I die? So let me finish that, and then, I'll have another bucket list.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
You know, just in case, right? Let me just finish it off.
Yeah.
And then Vaishali will be alive. Next 4-year bucket list.
I'll be crawling across the equator or something like that at
At least you'll
90.
be crawling, sister. I can't say the same about
I'm
you.
sure you'll be fine. We'll do one together. We have to do a race together. Even if we do a 10K, we will hold hands and do a 10K together.
So what is your favorite genre of music?
Anything which, I don't have any eclectic taste in music. The time that I listen to music is when I run, for a long run, like if I'm doing a 30K or a 40K run. And I just go to my iTunes and I download the most popular top 15. So it could be Taylor Swift, it could be like Ranveer Singh's latest. I love Taylor Swift. But it could be her latest.
That's like the coolest thing that she said, told me. Vaishali likes Taylor Swift.
So I like Taylor Swift, Rihanna, it'll be some Bollywood song. Whatever the top 15 will be on my iPod for my long run. So that's when I listen to it, and I also feel with it, because when other people talk about it, like, I know that song.
So if you had to choose between a cocktail party and a rave, which one would you choose?
A race?
A rave.
You know what a rave
You know what a rave is?
Yeah, but you know what? I have never been to a rave. So it's actually, you know what? When I finish my races, it's on my bucket list.
Wait, what's a rave? What is a rave?
I can't explain.
Explain, but I've heard about it.
Against me.
Yeah, but I want, no, so I've been to some cocktail parties, but I want to go to a rave.
All right.
Yeah.
But what is a rave? What is a rave?
I think.
Okay, later.
Yeah,
Later.
yeah.
That's
Later.
like another show.
Yeah.
I have a bit of a reputation still to protect. Not that I've been to a rave either.
Never.
Never. And how would you describe your life in one sentence?
Peaceful.
And that's what most people aspire. And
Yeah.
this is without doing Vipassana.
Yeah, this is without doing
Very
Vipassana.
So you and I don't need Vipassana, Sejal.
You need to run!
You get kicked
You know,
out.
every time I think I should, then I realize that, oh my God, why would I put those people? Not me. Excellent,
Exactly.
great. So I think we are done
I think
with
so
our
too.
questions right now. And
think so too.
Vaishali, this has been great.
Thank you so much.